Welcome back, my friends, to the show which never ends. With an anthropomorphic hen, come inside, come inside. Come join me and Viv, talk about creatures that live in the darkness of your id. Come inside, come inside. Come inside, believe me folks, it's great. Streaming on the last Wednesday at 8. Come inside, down here as well, you know. We'll take you places you want to go. Come and see the show. The Comedy Rhino. Come and see the show. It's great, you know. They're behind that boxes in criminal in a box. There's Canadian Dave Scott. Come inside, come inside. Goodness, it's his nibs, the one and only in squid. Exposing late monster fibs. Come inside, come inside. Come inside, the show's about to start. An insane mix of science, crap and art. Come and see the show. It's good, you know. Come and see the show. The last Wednesday show.
Show.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else. It's lovely to see you. We're all here. Our guest isn't, because our guest proves it's not just me and Vivian who screw up our time zones. It was probably my fault because I really so badly understand time zones that I think that probably deep inside, I think the world's flat, because I do not understand time zones at all. It's a bit like my mother could never understand why, when she was in the southern hemisphere, the sun was on the different side. And we were in Australia once, and she was trying to navigate by the sun, and we were going further and further and further into the outback and away from Perth. And my father was beginning to panic, but he always trusted my mother's navigation until he pointed out to her that we were in the southern hemisphere and we were going in completely the wrong direction. And I think I probably inherited my mother's view of that, because emotionally, I probably think the world's completely flat. But welcome, everybody. We have, and our guest has arrived. Our guest is here. I'm just going to join him to the thingy, if I can find
Such
it.
technical words.
Hi, Richard. It's lovely to see you, mate.
Lovely to see you too. Hi, everybody.
Now, I've just done something stupid. What have I done? I am really doing badly today. So we've got Vivian. I didn't mean to do that either. I really am doing badly today. I was trying to have me and Vivian, with Richard, our special guest, in the middle, and the other three being the lesser mortals underneath. But
Don't say that.
Why not?
No.
We know our place.
Time. The stuff you say about Ian and Dave all the time.
Say what you want, we don't care.
As long as she sends me pictures, I don't care.
Now you really know how to bring the tone of this show down. But one of them's Welsh and the other one's Canadian, so yes. Anyway, moving swiftly on. I'm not going to be able to make Welsh jokes next week, am I, Ian?
No, you can do what you want.
Because we're going to have Matt Williams there.
He's Welsh too, isn't he? Yes.
I'm going to be outnumbered by you Welsh fellows.
So, Jonathan, if I may add, as an actor here in Hollywood, one of my all-time favorite actors was Welsh, and you probably can guess who I'm speaking of, Richard Burton, the great Richard Burton.
Oh, of course. Wonderful actor.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, Anthony Hopkins.
Johnny Depp for me.
Johnny Depp.
He's Irish.
He's not Welsh, Vivian.
But I love Johnny Depp.
He's a Celt.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
She's a Celt. Well, half Celt and half... half, hang on, is it Greek?
And V, you're a Celt, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Phil, I was going to say, with that little UFO above your head, it looks like a halo. And with your background thing glitching like that, it makes it look like you've got two little angel wings. So we got a little angel. We've got an angel in the top right corner, and then my little red light here makes me look like a little devil.
A cotton leaf.
Yeah, that's why we're related. Can I just say, before we go any further, Richard, my most favourite, and he's an absolute legend in his own right, my most favourite sportsman is Valentino Rossi. So you have a very good surname there.
Well, thank you, Viv. Coming from an angel, the book of Hebrews says sometimes people we meet are angels unaware. So to get that endorsement of my surname from an angel. By the way, you may know in Italy, Rossi is the most common surname. I was in Milan because a film I made was up for an award at a film festival. And everywhere I looked, I saw Rossi Bakery, Rossi Taylor. And they told me that it was the most common last name in Italy, which meant a lot to me to make that trip and hear that, because my Italian father had just passed. So it's nice to know that we have Rossi represented so well in the athletic world too.
Next time you go to Italy, go to the Rossi. He's got his own motorbike school. You never know. He might let you in for free, and
Yeah. Maybe my name will get me in there.
Well, just tell him that you know an angel, and that'll probably get you in.
Can I just say, that the greatest deceiver comes with love and light.
Oh, yes, that's true. Satan appears as an angel of light, but I don't think you're evil. I think you're on the good side of the force.
The one who's got the weird light is V underneath you, because at the moment you look like one of the imps of Tartarus at the moment.
Yeah, I put this red cellophane on that thing because the blue light was really hurting my eyes because of my my autistic thing. The bright white light was really hurting my eyes, so I thought, I toned it down with this red cellophane, and now it's made me look like Jack Nicholson in one of his, one of his movies.
You can lean forward and say, "Here's Johnny."
Here's Johnny.
Ooh, that was good. That was really good. Stanley Kubrick would like that. By the way, that line was improvised. A lot of the best lines in films are improvised by the actor that take a little bit of liberties, and he just improvised that, but it's so iconic, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the moment, I tell you what you look like, V. I don't know if any of you have ever been to the big aquarium in Hull, but they've got these tanks of deep sea fish, the ones with the flashing lights. And in order to make it that the deep sea fish don't get disturbed by the light in the main walkway, they've got red cellophane all over the glass, and so you look like a deep sea fish at the moment. You see,
lovely.
Nothing can say to that. Anyway, Richard, welcome to this particularly peculiar show.
Well, I'm honored to be with you, and thanks for doing work in the cryptozoology field for so long, longer than anyone. And it's really been wonderful to learn about cryptozoology through your work and your show.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. William, didn't Jack Nicholson? I don't know. Did Jack Nicholson appear in a film with Boris Karloff?
He did, yes, in the 60s.
Mm.
It was one of the Edgar Allan Poe. There was some Edgar Allan Poe films in the 60s, weren't there? And he appeared in one of those. Boris Karloff, Basil Rathbone, Vincent Price, Peter Lorre.
Great.
Yeah. Basil Rathbone. He was a brilliant Sherlock Holmes, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I absolutely love those Roger Corman 1960s films on the work of Edgar Allan Poe. They were so fun. And my mother absolutely loves Peter Lorre. That's her favorite actor. He has such a creepy factor, the eyes and the voice. And I don't know if any of you have seen a very early film he did where he played a child predator. I think it was called M. out of Germany. He was very, very young, but it's such a creepy performance.
Oh, I've seen it. It's horrifically. It's really, really, really unpleasant to watch. He's so good.
Yes. Like when he snatches the child, it just cuts to the balloon the child was holding going up in the air, and it's like an early masterpiece. I think it was Fritz Lang directed it.
Oh, that figures.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Fritz.
Brilliant. It was brilliant, Fritz Lang.
Yes.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, William. They're all coming in. The faithful all coming and joining us.
Hurrah! Welcome.
What I love about this show,
Richard,
is
where you are, do you manage to get out and do any cryptid hunting at all? Like, I'm thinking of Sasquatch, where you are.
Oh, well, I co-wrote a book with my friend Kelly Tabor, who's going to try to join us in a little bit. But we wrote this book, Lucy and the Lake Monster, and I wrote it because I'm a grandfather about a grandfather and his granddaughter looking for Champ in Lake Champlain. And the book became popular, and Kelly and I started doing book signings. We'd have hundreds of kids showing up at all these bookstores. And then we made it into a movie, Lucy and the Lake Monster. But although I'm no expert on looking for Champ or cryptozoology, we had a very incredible thing happen that we weren't trying to make happen, which was we had drone shots as we were making the film. And in one of our drone shots, my character, the grandfather, and the granddaughter, we were in a rowboat that was about 11 feet long, and behind us is a large creature that looks like Champ swimming that we found on our drone footage. And so it's had a lot of discussion and hits on YouTube and things like that. So by accident, we captured some footage of what may be Champ. My co-writer, Kelly, who grew up by the lake looking for Champ her whole life for over 50 years, she believes it's definitely evidence for Champ. And I'm kind of the doubting Thomas in that the old doubting Thomas story, unless I put my hands in the wounds and the scars in the hands inside, I won't believe. So I think it's really interesting, but I cannot conclusively say, oh, it's 100% Champ. So I tend to like people of greater expertise to also look at it and share with them.
There was a similar thing in Loch Ness in recent times, wasn't there, where there's some canoeists on the shore and they got a drone going overhead, and then there's a plesiosaur type image in the shallows, but that was found out as that was uncovered as a fake.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah, but it's a good effort. But no, the actual the image of the monster was found out to be an actual toy that you could buy, and they took the image of the toy and
I think it's always good to have someone who believes and an absolute doubting Thomas together, because when you come together, you can make right decisions and look at it from different angles. I'm always having arguments with Jonathan about things like, what do you think this is? Oh, it's nothing,
Yes, I like that combination also, because I think you need that skeptic side. Kelly is the one that spotted the footage first, which was apropos because she's her whole entire life wanted to find Champ. So I thought it was poetic that she spotted it and then said, Richard, come look at this. And she believes so. In fact, she has had experiences where she saw a wake and something swimming right towards her that she believes was Champ. And so I love her faith, her childlike faith. And but yet at the same time, I'm always cautioning her to try to make sure there's evidence, and that goes with a lot of things, even conspiracy theories or things that she might read or see. She tends to be the true believer, whereas I tend to raise up the critical questions. So I agree with you, Viv. It's a good combination.
Is she spiritual by any chance? Is she showing any mediumistic skills? Does she home in on that?
Well, she's always been very spiritual and a very Christ-like person. We've had a friendship for decades, and she was always someone that had such a kind of Christ-like energy that you could, I could tell her my problems or my pain or things that were hard traumas in the past. And so she has a very healing energy. So she is very spiritual in that way. And in our film, Lucy and the Lake Monster, which, by the way, you can watch it free on Amazon or Plex or Freevee. You just have to see a couple commercials, but it's free. But in our film, I look at it as kind of, it's interesting you asked the spiritual question, because for me, it's like Champ is like an allegory for faith or God, because my granddaughter in the film has this childlike faith, and she's mocked for her faith in Champ, and bullies pick on her. So I see it as a like an allegory, like C.S. Lewis, for example, in his children's stories, you could see Aslan the lion as an allegory for Christ. And so I see her faith, her pure faith, as an allegory for a spiritual person, like you said, Viv.
So
I'm wondering, sorry, I'm wondering if you're more spiritual, you're more likely to see them than if you're not. Is there this link between? Do you see where I'm getting?
It's really interesting you're getting there, Viv, because we just finished shooting the sequel. The first film was very popular, so we did a sequel, and we were filming this summer, and we're in the post-production phase. But in the sequel, we're taking a point of view that's exactly that the more spiritual people can see Champ. And we're thinking now in this one that maybe some of we don't show it. In the first one, I better not, Kelly would kill me. She doesn't like me giving spoilers. But we're thinking of going that route with the sequel, that maybe not everyone sees it,
Richard, so the film itself, is it a fictional film, or is it a documentary or docudrama? What's the general approach of the film?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, it's a fictional film.
So it's a fictional film.
It is loosely based on my co-writer's childhood looking for Champ with her Papa Jerry. I play Papa Jerry. But it's definitely fictional, yes.
Okay.
Can I add Kelly to the stage?
Is Kelly here?
She is.
We got messed up on our time. I'm hoping that I did reach her, and she was in the middle of, but I hope she gets in there. I told her to try to come in. There, Kelly, I've been talking about you for 2 minutes. Here she is. I was talking about how Christ-like and spiritual and wonderful you are, and here you are. You did make it.
Well, thank you. I am outside. I was running errands with my parents. I thought the interview was at 6 o'clock tonight, but I guess there's a time change.
Yes, we're all
mix up.
It's all my fault. We're all confused. I mean,
it's all Richard's fault.
I'm in Hollywood, California, and she's in New York, and I'm
in upstate New York. I don't know if you could see any of the Adirondack Mountains behind me, but anyways, I'm outside right now. I tried to find a quiet spot.
Thank you, Kelly, for coming. I'm so elated you made it.
Yeah, and it's beautiful where you are as well. Looks beautiful.
Yes, we're really thankful for the rain. Normally, all the leaves up here are beautiful, vibrant colors right now, but we've had it's been a drought, actually. And so a lot of the trees had already turned brownish. But we did get a rain yesterday and today, so I'm hoping things will get a little bit brighter because it's so pretty, the autumn leaves up here.
Oh, Kelly, I noticed someone named Simon said, hi, Kelly, and he asked if there's any other fictional films other than ours about Champ. I don't know if there is. I don't know if anyone else on the panel would know that. I could try to.
I'm not aware of any. But ours, did you tell them ours is going to be a trilogy?
Oh, tell them about that, Kelly. If John,
you haven't got that far.
Yes, really? we've already got the first book and film out, and you can see it streaming. Richard's probably already said that, but it's on a lot of streaming platforms. And then also we're working on the second film right now, and the first time we wrote the book first, and then we did the film. But this time we did the film. We are actually currently doing the film. I did some more filming last week, and I'm going to be doing some filming up here at the end of this week. And we have a few more scenes to do after that. But after we get this all filmed and the movie going, we're going to be doing the book that goes along with it, which is called the novelization. So after that, we'll be doing the third and final piece, which will be it'll be a trilogy in the end. We don't know what that title will be yet, but
yeah, the first one that you can see free now is Lucy and the Lake Monster, and the sequel is entitled The Secrets of Lake Champlain. And I did tell him already, Kelly, about how we accidentally caught what could be Champ in the drone footage, and I told him how you believe for sure it's Champ.
Oh, I'm 100% certain.
Oh, on YouTube, you could find it probably if you put in like Rossi Tabor drone footage, Champ or something, it would come up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I noticed it when I was editing. I was editing using my big screen television at home down in South Carolina. And I noticed this thing under the water, and it was, I don't know how far from the boat, but it was as big as the boat. And I was shocked when I saw it, because this is footage that had been sitting for approximately 2 years, and finally, when we got to go through that part of it, I noticed it, and I called Richard immediately in California, and I said, go to, I think it was the 4-minute something mark, and look to see what you see. And he said, oh my gosh, Kelly, this is something that we miss. And I said, it's got to be, it's got like a skinny neck and a large, it's wide. It goes from skinny to wide, like the body, the girth of it. And
do you want me to show it on here while you're
oh my gosh.
discussing it?
Oh, sure.
What I was saying is on my big screen TV, it looked a lot bigger. So I took a picture of it on my big screen TV, and then with my phone, I could go like this and make it a little bit larger. And it is a lot clearer than you would see on a little phone. And Richard put it online, and within like just a short amount of days, there were like 50-something thousand hits on it. And people were just so interesting. The whole like cryptozoology community were making comments. Some were really excited about it. Like, what could it be? You know, some really thought it might be it. And then some, of course, you had skeptical people too, but just, it was really neat seeing that footage online and having everybody get to look at it and, you know, make comments. And some people were really excited, because especially the people in our, when we told like the cast members about it, little Lucy, you know, every day she'd always wanted to see Champ. And she would say, oh, I hope we see it today. And most of the sightings you see it, people talk about it surfacing. So we were always looking for it on the surface, but little did we know that it was only feet or yards from the boat underwater. We didn't get to see it with our eyes at that time, but he was still lurking around, we believe. It looked like on the big screen that the skinny part, it looked like it was like going back and forth, and I envisioned it like eating. And then it looked like there were two, like on each side, that would have been fins or something that was kind of propelling it kind of forward. But it really showed up nicely on a big screen TV. And then when I opened it up,
and it's in the lower right. If you look in the lower right of that screen, they're showing it now, Kelly.
And right, it's as big as the boat. And so, of course, we got the measurements of the boat. Richard, you probably remember that better than I would. I have it written down somewhere, but it was as big as the boat. And so everybody was just thrilled and excited about it, that this had been captured.
Yes,
so,
and the Sandra Mancy photo is very iconic, and we, you know, and that's awesome. But one thing that a lot of people discussed about it was the fact some of the Skeptic magazines said Sandra Mancy's photo didn't have anything for scale to see how big it was, whereas our boat was 142 inches from the tip of the bow to the stern, about 11 feet, and 50.5 inches at the widest point. And the creature appears to be larger than this boat. And so that gave the scale that a lot of people were saying was lacking in the Mancy photo. And so that was quite interesting. I never thought about that scale aspect, but it's kind of true, because Kelly and I were privileged and surprised to be shown the original Polaroid of the Mancy photo. And we didn't realize they were going to do that for us. A museum up in Vermont said, we'd like you two to come into the back room.
Yeah.
And they had the original Mancy Polaroid, and it was like seeing the Holy Grail. But one thing I noticed from the photo, seeing it live, the actual Polaroid, was that you could see it was rather close to the shore. Therefore, I wondered how big it could actually be, because the water's shallow, of course, when you're close to the shore. Whereas in this situation, it was like in the middle of a deep part of the lake, and it appears bigger than our boat.
Yeah, right now the lake level is really low. It's the lowest it's ever been, from what I understand. And I remember I was kayaking last week. I was actually doing some filming, and I was way out, and I put the oar down in the water, and it only went up like a foot above the oar. We could not believe how dry it was. Low, how low the lake was. And so we're really thankful for this recent rain. Well, you know, boaters have to be careful right now because it's so low, and they're, you know, tree stumps and trees stuck and and like it's easy for the boats to hit it. I was reading something online today where there was one big tree and a big tree root ball that was only 6 inches from the surface, and boaters were having to be careful, and someone had to go and move it because it was in an area where a lot of boaters were. So it seems like there would be better sightings right now with the lake so low, because it's got fewer places to go. But I haven't heard of any yet.
It's a big lake, though, isn't it? So plenty of hiding places.
Yes, I think I want to say it's 400 feet deep in places. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but Richard might remember that.
That's a good point, Ian, because compared to Loch Ness, it is so much bigger. The area is 313,576 acres, six cubic miles. So there's quite a bit of hiding.
Yeah, and in the wintertime, the lake freezes over. I mean, there's a lot of they have big communities of ice fishermen out there, and they have the big shanties, and the trucks will actually tow the shanties out onto the lake, and some of them have wood stoves in them, and they have holes drilled in the floors, and people just sit inside with their tip-ups and they fish, and they get a lot of smelt and other fish. I remember fishing when I was little, ice fishing in the wintertime. It's nice to have a shanty because that cold north wind gets pretty cold out on the ice.
Well, by the way, Kelly plays the school teacher in Lucy in the Lake Munster. So if you watch the film on Amazon or somewhere else, she's the teacher of my granddaughter. I play the grandfather.
Yes, I'm Miss Marino.
Yes, Miss Marino. And then Emma Pearson in the first film plays Lucy, who's 8. And then the sequel jumps forward in time that we've been filming, where she's now an older girl. She's in her teens. And that Anastasia Leodori is an Italian actress who plays her in the second one. It's a trilogy where it's going to see Lucy at different ages and her relation to Champ at different ages.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Adorable. I hope all of you get to see it if you haven't yet.
So
I watched it last week.
Oh, thank you for watching it, Jonathan.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we made a point of watching it before this.
Does Champ appear in the film, or are you not allowed to give that away? I've not seen it myself.
Is it okay for me to say, Kelly?
I'll leave that up to you. It's funny, sometimes I call Richard diarrhea mouth. Because sometimes he wants to just tell people stuff. I'm like, don't tell him yet. There has to be some element of surprise. But a lot of people already know, since the first movie's been out since, I think it came out in April, streaming. It came out streaming in April, but we were showing it before that.
Well, we will say, Ian, that
go ahead, Richard.
Lucy's goal, and her main goal, the protagonist, is she wants to see Champ. She wants to get a picture of Champ, like Sandra Mancy. She wants to see him. And children all over the world, we've spoke at schools and book signings, and the children line up by the hundreds and say, "Will she see Champ? Will she see Champ?" In fact, the actress who played Champ in the second one was watching it with her niece on Amazon. And she's only 5, her niece, and her niece is like, "Well, is she going to see Champ? Is she going to see Champ?" Well, it got too late, and her mother said, "It's your bedtime. In the morning, you can see if she sees Champ." And so her aunt Anastasia says, "Okay, in the morning, we'll put on where we were about halfway through and see if Lucy finally sees Champ." And when she got up at about 7 a.m., she saw the end credits, and her little 5-year-old niece figured out how to play the rest, and she was all excited about the Lucy, what happened with Lucy and Champ. And she said, "You were supposed to wait for your auntie to watch the second half." She said, "I couldn't wait. I had to see if she's Champ."
Because you've got Loch Ness starring Sam Malone from Cheers, haven't you?
Yes.
And the monster is real in that, and you do get to see the monster in that one. So.
Yes, and that has a parallel to ours, and that he has the relationship with the young girl as well.
I see, but don't give the story away if you don't want to. But I'll spoil that film for everyone. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that the little girl was really excited at the end. That she hint, hint. Oh goodness! I'm just really thrilled to be working with Richard. I'm thankful that he asked me to work with him, and he's just wonderful to work with. He's creative. He's fun. He's imaginative and spontaneous too. Sometimes we have a script written and he gets an idea and he says, I'm thinking about doing something different today. And we always know it's going to be good, and then we just go in a different direction and film something that comes out brilliant.
The great director Orson Welles said part of directing for him was what he called divine accidents, which was things he didn't anticipate that would happen while filmmaking. And he said that if he was open to the divine accidents and going with them, it made the film better. Like when we were shooting the second one just last month, there were rainbows several times, beautiful rainbows appeared over Lake Champlain, and we had something else planned, but I was like, we got to film this beautiful rainbow over Lake Champlain. I even wrote a song on my guitar spontaneously. There's a rainbow over Lake Champlain. It's the promise that comes after the rain, and I see it whenever I hold you again. And so those kind of things happen to us, magical things like the drone shot of Champ.
Oh, wow.
What might be Champ, so many incredible things happen sometimes by accident. And, we weren't trying to find Champ. That's the interesting thing, because some people have shared our footage in the context of evidence for Champ. And like Sandra Mancy wasn't looking for Champ, as far as I know. Her and her family and her children, they were just out at the lake, I think maybe for a picnic or something. So it's interesting how things happen. A lot of times people that aren't intentionally, seeking it, so to speak. I heard a preacher once say all the miracles in the Gospels where Jesus heals people were like interruptions or accidents, where some woman, grabs him in the crowd and grabs the hem of his garment or something. So, I think in the field of cryptozoology, it's very interesting how, yes, there's people that dedicate their life towards looking for something, but it's interesting how so many of these incredible things that happen are people that are just kind of there. I think that's quite magical.
Yeah, I've always looked for Champ. I actually grew up in a town, and my family had a cabin on the lake, so we spent a lot of time at the cabin. And when I was little, we're talking well over, I don't want to reveal my age.
I already blew it, Kelly, and said you've been looking for Champ for over 50 years. So
actually, it's over 55, and I'm not. That's as high as I'm going. I could go higher.
Looking good there, though, Kelly. Looking good. Doesn't matter.
Thank you. You are my new best friend.
You don't look a day over 40, Kelly.
Thank you. But
we were talking about Carol Decker, weren't we, earlier, John, before we went live?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, never mind that. Carry on.
I've been looking for Champ all my life. When I'm there, I was always scanning. My dad had a boat we used to go out on, and him and I used to look. And, we never really saw it when we were little. And we always heard about people that had seen it. My uncle Bob, Robert Bly, had a restaurant right there at Boaga Bay where most of the sightings have been seen. Well, people say 300 eyewitnesses, but it's way beyond that right now. But he had a bar and restaurant. And of course, from his bar and restaurant, a lot of people claim to see Champ. And so it's like a running joke, like how many have you had, when people say they saw a sighting from, but he had like television crews on the roof of his restaurant before when there were sightings, and it was always a big thing. So in our movie, we do have a bar scene. We wanted to set it at kind of like Captain Bly's restaurant's no longer there. It burned down back in the early, I think 2001 or maybe 2000. Yeah, I think early 2000s. It burned down, but we wanted to have something in there similar to that. And so he always had binoculars set up at all the windows. So when people were sitting at the seats and they're eating, they could look out the window and they could look for Champ in the bay there. And so, of course, we wanted to have a scene like that in the movie where the binoculars were at the table and, just kind of honoring my Uncle Bob, too, in the movie and what he used to have. A lot of people around here still remember him in that restaurant because there was a lot of nice times there. It was a nice place where people could go and eat on the weekend, fine dining. My aunt always cooked in the kitchen. Aunt Joan always cooked up nice meals, and it was white tablecloth. People would get dressed up, and my grandmother would play jazz on the piano, and my Uncle Bob would play the drums. And it was just a nice place for people to go and have romantic dinner together in the side room. But before you get to that, you had to walk through the bar when you went in, and that's where the tables were, where people would have lunches and all with the binoculars.
That's a really good idea, though, having the binoculars there.
I know.
You've got the Klansman Hotel in Loch Ness, which overlooks the loch. You can have your lunch whilst looking for Nessie.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, there's a couple of places around Loch Ness you can do the same thing.
Oh,
Well,
but-
one day I want to go there.
How many have you had then, Kelly?
Pardon me?
How many have you had sightings of
I
champ?
have never. The only sighting I've seen is in the drone footage.
Ah, right, okay.
I did tell
Now,
him about your experience with the wake, Kelly, swimming
Yeah.
sword
Well,
that you thought might have
I
been.
think I might have seen the effects of Champ before, and that was from the same cabin that my father helped build when he was a little boy. I was sitting on the front porch with my friends, and we saw it was a very calm night, and the lake was very calm. People would say it's calm, as smooth as glass, and we saw a big stirring.
Yeah,
And
nowhere.
we were kind of surprised, like, what in the world is that? Because it was obvious something big was right there. And it was a big stirring of water. And then the wake started coming right towards us. And my friend had her camera. And of course, my dad always had binoculars hanging on a nail there. And I grabbed it and I was looking through, and everybody's eyes were like glued on it. And it wasn't going side to side. It wasn't going up and down. It just came straight for us. And the wake had to be at least an inch, maybe even higher, of the V that it was forming. And it was one steady speed the whole time. And it came right towards us. And then it made like a 90-degree turn. It went off towards the next bay, but it never surfaced. I was so disappointed. I just knew that had to be it. I know there's a lot of lake sturgeons and garfish, but I don't know of anything that would have made a straight beeline, like right for us, for such a long distance without moving up and down. Like the tail, if it would have gone up and down, you would have seen something, or side to side, but it was just one steady, smooth. I pictured it underwater just walking.
But you're a believer. You're a believer, and Richard isn't a believer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's the doubting Thomas, and I'm more the believer. Yeah, I've always, where I grew up here, there's been a lot of people that I know that have seen it, and respectable people that weren't drinking.
I was telling them it's kind of like the way we are with many other things. Like Kelly's been sharing all these conspiracy theories about the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and I'm asking, well, who would do that, and why would they do that, and why is the shooter and his family not contradicting that and saying he's a patsy the way Lee Harvey Oswald did? And she's like, Richard, I'm just sharing the conspiracy theories. I'm not trying to defend them against your skepticism here. So it's kind of like the way we are with everything.
Kelly, let's say you do eventually get to see Champ in all his glory. How do you think you would react? Would you be calm? Would you get scared and run away?
Oh, I would be very quiet, because I would not want to scare it away. I would want it to stay surfaced as long as possible. So if I had my camera there, naturally I would be trying to film. But sometimes I hear that it happens so fast, people don't even have time to film it. But I would probably, like if Richard or somebody was there, I'd probably try to get their attention, but I would stay calm. I would not be loud. I would just want it to stay there as long as possible, so I could convey it to somebody who wanted to know afterwards, whether it's the news or somebody, to tell exactly what I saw, because I'm a very observant person anyway, and I learn best visually, and then kinesthetically probably secondly. But I would probably, sorry, I'm outside and there's a big truck going by, but I would probably try to see and remember as much as I could, so I could convey that later, because it wouldn't stay up forever,
Yeah.
But I would certainly try to film it if I could. I just got a new phone this week.
Well, I will have to say Kelly's faith is the inspiration, the catalyst, the muse to the whole Lucy and the Lake Monster book and film, because I had health problems and was looking at my mortality, and I'm a grandfather now, and I wanted to do a family film about a grandfather and grandchild. And when I thought of Kelly, she inspired. She was a teacher of the year, public school teacher, 32 years in the public school system. And she would tell her fourth grade students her stories of looking for Champ as a young girl. And the children loved her stories so much. Tell us more about Champ. Some of them graduated Ivy League schools. Like my daughter graduated Princeton and a master's degree, and she had students that went to Harvard and different places and Yale, and they would come back. Tell us your stories about Champ. So,
yeah, one particular boy said he graduated from Harvard. Cheers, Demarius Taylor. He said to me, do you still tell the stories of Champ? Now, this is a boy I had in the 4th grade years ago. He's already graduated from college and all. And he said, I hope you still tell the stories because you enlivened my life. And I thought, oh my goodness, it made me want to cry because
that's so sweet.
How did you get on making a film in the middle of a bustling community like that? How did the local people take to you?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Jonathan. And Kelly's froze. Hopefully she comes back. So I'll answer that. She looks like her video might have froze. We were wonderfully supported. The local paper there, the Press Republican, actually wrote in the paper that we had done much for the community, even monetarily, in terms of the economy and the interest in Port Henry. And a local minister there was very kind. Pastor Rick Lewis, allowed us in his church to store our equipment, camera equipment, microphones, computers, and then also some of our cast and crew. It was challenging to house them in the area because it was the summertime, and they have way more people come to stay in Port Henry in the summer to be on the lake for the summer. And so it was very hard to find places to stay. We were able to rent some places to stay for cast and crew. So the ministers were so kind to allow some of our crew, actually, they converted Sunday school rooms into bedrooms. And so our crews were staying at local church, and a lot of the locals were extras. One of the Lucy in the story is bullied by classmates who think she's crazy and foolish to believe in Champ. And I hadn't cast the bullies yet. Are you back, Kelly?
Yes, I'm sorry
about the involvement of locals. Maybe I'll hand the ball off to you to tell the story, because you like to tell the story of how we found our bullies for the film.
Yeah, we did. We didn't have everybody to fill all the spaces yet, and we had a bully scene coming up, and we didn't have the bullies. And this one particular church, cheers to Rick Lewis, who was the pastor that let us keep all of our equipment there, and we had meals there. It's just a wonderful place. And we needed some bullies, and that we noticed there were some young boys every day. They were out playing basketball right there outside of the church at their home across the street. They had a basketball hoop that was set up on the street. And so one day we were like, where's Richard? Everybody's wondering where Richard was. And I remember those boys out there the day before thinking, I wonder if they would be good for the bully scene, because they seemed the perfect age and all. And when Richard was missing that one afternoon, I said, I bet I know where he is. Well, all of a sudden he came in the church all happy. He had been out playing basketball with them, and he said, I've got our bullies for the bully scene. And so all three of those little boys, they were there were actually 4 of them. They were so happy that they were asked to be in a movie. I mean, this was life-changing for them. Can you imagine these little boys, just all of a sudden meeting this guy from Hollywood who actually was a movie maker, and he was out playing basketball with them, and suddenly he asked them to be in the movie with them. So they were so excited, and, we're friends to this day. They're wonderful people, wonderful families. They're so supportive. We've had wonderful supportive community. I mean, the cabin, the people that allowed us to use we had 2 cabins we used, Alita and Mark Desso, just wonderful, wonderful people that let us use their cabin. They worked with us in every possible way they could. They're just so helpful. And
yes, maybe
Rick,
Kelly, just so they know, Kelly, the cabin was very important because Papa in our novel is kind of lives a hermetic life in a rustic cabin on the lake with his granddaughter. And so finding this cabin was essential. And he would go out on a rickety rowboat every day that was called Gramps' Boat. Now, here's the incredible thing. We didn't have the cabin, but we met some friends who owned a place called Home of Champ, and they sell Champ merchandise in Port Henry, New York, Andrea and Cal. And Andrea told us about this cabin and said you could ask them. When we got to the cabin to ask them if we could use it as Papa's cabin, and I started telling their story about a grandfather and his granddaughter going out on the lake, we noticed that this couple was emotionally affected. And Alita, the owner with her husband, Mark, she takes me, she goes, "You have got to see this." And she takes me and shows me a rowboat, and it has painted on the rowboat, Gramps' boat. And she said, "I went out on this boat with my grandfather as a little girl. It was recently missing. The waves of the lake kind of took it away, and we lost it. And we put out a call
Storm. Yeah.
online." Why don't you pick it up from there, Kelly?
There was a really bad storm on October night, and the boat, it was so bad. The storm was so bad that it carried the boat away, and she was devastated because her grandfather, who had passed away, had left this boat to her, and it's so sentimental. Well, within minutes, there were like hundreds and hundreds of shares of people, and everybody on the lake, they were trying to find Alita's boat that her grandfather had given her, and they found it. It was far away. It floated far away, and one man was really nice and helped get it back to where it was supposed to be. But
so this cabin's quite magical. It's hard to find. They're into cryptozoology, so you have to go through these woods on a windy road that it's scary, almost scary to people. Like, will my car survive this drive? And they have all these signs up: Bigfoot, it lives here. No trespassing. Watch out for Sasquatch. So to find this cabin is a it's a mystery. Like, locals wonder, where is that cabin they filmed? And some people will go by on the lake trying to find it. And in fact, one of the actors, Hawk, had a scene at the cabin. He was in the first film, but in the second film, he had a scene at the cabin, and he was excited. I'm going to actually see the famous cabin from the movie,
Yeah, and there's another cabin, too, that's further up the lake, about 15 minutes north of there in Westport. Rick allowed us to use that, too, for some scenes. And it's just, people were so kind and generous. And I had a cousin, we needed a bar scene for the first movie, and her husband had built a bar room above their garage. And so we said, "Can we use your bar room?" It's the bar room above their garage. And she was the bartender because she had bartendered in the past too. And we set it up and we had everybody come there. And then when the hostess said, "Mr. Lago, I have your table for you and Lucy," she takes them off camera, and then it shows them sitting down in the restaurant, which actually is another restaurant in a local town, which is Ticonderoga, New York. And we cut it together so it looks like one restaurant. It's like they enter through the bar and go sit down, but it's actually two different places. That was Richard's idea. He's so clever.
V, you've got your own bar as well, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah, you built your own bar.
Can you show
it was really, even the lady that was at the other restaurant in Ticonderoga, it's the they call it the Fortean. I'm trying to remember the
Fort View.
It's called Fort View. Kathy, who actually works there and owns it, her and her son were working that day. So she actually was the waitress in the real movie. So she got to be in the movie, and her son did, because he helped with the food. And it's just wonderful how everybody just worked together and just did a wonderful job. We did have one man, and he played the town drunk, kind of like Otis and the Anne Griffith show. Otis was his inspiration. So he wanted to tell Lucy, if you drink some of these, or Papa, you'll see Champ for sure. Kind of like the running joke up here. And so somebody he lives in Vermont. His name is Hawk. And he lives in Vermont. And he was recently in a store over there, in a hardware store. And somebody came up to him and said, "Were you the one that played the town drunk in Lucy and the Lake Monster?" And he looked at them like, he was shocked that somebody remembered him like a movie star, We're just so happy that our movie's being recognized, and we've got lots
also,
of
Kelly, didn't you talk to one of the young boys that was a bully, and he was really he was beaming because they showed the movie at his school, which we didn't even know the school showed it. And so he was kind of the star in the school because, wow, he's in there, look at.
He said, "They showed it at my school. My whole class got to see it." And I don't know how many other classrooms saw it too, but he was just so happy that just think how he felt, all of his little friends got to see him up on the big screen. Him and his other friends, because they all went to the same school. Yeah, they're all very good.
I believe his name was Tommy, and he's very nice boy. Tommy Baker? Is that it?
Yes.
Tommy Baker, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I can't stay much longer. I'm actually my parents are elderly and I've been helping them out, and I was out running errands and had a doctor's appointment with them today. And so they're about finished. So I kind of pulled myself away so I wouldn't miss out on this. I'm outside kind of in a field, but I'll have to get back to my parents. But I want to thank all of you for having me. Richard, you can continue on, but I'll have to sign off now.
Bye, Kelly.
Maybe
Bye,
Okay, it's nice talking to you.
nice meeting all of you, and maybe someday Richard and I will get to go over there to search, or at least experience looking for Loch Ness with you, and get to see the beauty of the loch over there.
And a lot of the folks here are in England also, Kelly.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and there's some people in England wanting to show our film in London and different towns there, so maybe we'll get to meet.
Okay. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, and thank you for having me personally. My parents are waiting. My dad's going to be 92, and my mom's in her 80s, and so he's got a lot of stories to tell too.
Oh, and her dad is Papa Jerry, and my character is Papa Jerry. I based my character on her father's. I studied her father and spent a lot of time with her father. So her father is immortalized in the film as Papa Jerry.
There's even some surprise appearances of my mom and dad in the background.
Oh, yeah, cool. They make some cameos.
But cool. Thank you. I'm going to sign off. I'm not sure I know how.
I can do that, I think.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye-bye, Kelly.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye. So, Richard, can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
You've got several recurring characters in the movie, in the first movie, Papa Joe and the little girl. Obviously, they're going to be in the second film and the third one.
Yes.
Do you have other recurring characters? Like, what about that horrible Beamish character? Does that one crop up again in the second movie or the third movie?
In the second one, the character is referred to as kind of, there's new villains. I don't know if you remember Batman in the 60s, Adam West, but you know, it's Adam West had villains, different villains that would come and go. So you might have the Penguin one week and the Riddler one week and the Joker another week, you know, Mr. Freeze, and Catwoman, of course, the lovely Julie Newmar. So this is new villains in the second one, but there's references to Beamish, kind of directing them a bit. Yeah.
Oh, so she's sort of in the background then, sort of still there, having a mellifluous influence.
Yes. We had intended and written more of Beamish in the second one, but you know, sometimes logistically, you know, as I mentioned, Orson Welles says you have to kind of deal with the circumstances as they play out. Yeah. And our actors, we were shooting this summer, and our actors that played them, you know, had different commitments, you know, and we're hoping that maybe we can still shoot some with them, but we're not sure. But
that would be good.
Yeah, but a lot of people want to know what happens to them. Like when we showed the film in a bunch of film festivals, and forgive me if this is bragging, but it's won over 20 film festival awards, and I'm cringing saying that because my mother, who's 88 and in a wheelchair, she always told me, "Don't toot your own horn." You know, she would quote Proverbs, a book of Proverbs, which said, "Let another man's lips praise thee and not thine own." But in the film world, you sometimes, to get people to see the film, telling them it won 20 awards, like that will get some people to watch the film, right? But so it won a bunch of awards, but at some of the film festivals, people loved Beamish and Mercenary Mike, her boyfriend, and want to know what happens to them. So there is some, you know, even in what we shot, references to them, but there are more other villains that are a bit more prominent in this one.
Cool.
One of the things that I found very interesting about both the film and the book is that mostly when you see a documentary or a fictional representation of a mystery animal or a mysterious creature, it's usually when it's done from a Christian perspective, it is usually portrayed negatively.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I mean, I know there are people who are. My brother's a pastor in Germany, and there are people who I know who are friends of his who think because I study these things that I must be on the left-hand path or some nonsense or other. But it was interesting to see, for once, a cryptid being portrayed in a positive way within a film from a Christian perspective, which I found particularly interesting.
Wow, that's a really interesting point, Jonathan. Yes, I wanted to also be going with the allegory for God show, like, Christ said you must become like a little child. So I wanted to show that with this little child, I had a very positive view. And a lot of times, like in America particularly, there's this Christian nationalism and fundamentalism where it's a very punitive God, and it's a very negative concept of God that will punish their enemies and that sort of a thing. And so I wanted to show that a child with a pure heart saw Champ in a very beautiful light. In fact, at the end, and Ian, you mentioned about the ending, Kelly's gone, so she can't call me diarrhea mouth. But in the ending, Lucy makes a speech at the end about how, all these creatures are divine creatures, and we must, look at them in a positive way. And so that's a really interesting point you made.
But if you look at cryptid movies and fiction as well, the cryptid is a monster usually, and what people like is a monster to be bad, and then at the end, so monster kills man. You look at Jaws, for example, that film.
Yes.
Monster kills man, man wins, kills monster. King Kong.
Yeah. After he got a bigger boat.
Isn't it? So there's that as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was recently at a 50-year anniversary screening of Jaws, and I had the chance to talk with the editor and that worked on the film. And that's a really, wow, you just made a really good point there.
And Alex Kittner, now as a grown-up, he's got a restaurant, I think, in the area. And he does have the Kittner burger, which has got plenty of red sauce in it. But yeah.
But you do have like the Japanese versions of it where King Kong starts bad, becomes good, and fights Godzilla and all the rest of it. But it's the different countries seeing it in different ways, because Godzilla in America was really bad.
Yes, I have an actress friend who's a really dear friend of mine who was in one of the Asian versions, Linda Jo Miller. She played Lieutenant Susan Watson in a 1967 Toho film that was called King Kong Escapes. And she's now has had a Christian conversion. And she was here at my home. And I said, I have an idea for your writing your religious conversion, some verbiage for a theme or whatever. And I told her, from Kong's hands to God's hands, and she absolutely loved it.
Amazing. Yeah.
But she was the beautiful blonde, and she got a lot of parts when she was living in
she was the Fay Ray.
She was the Fay Ray, and she said that it was so striking in Asian countries to see her being a blonde American. And so they cast her as the Fay Ray in the 1967 version. And she's just a lovely person, wonderful person.
Excellent. What about the what have you seen the Burdett footage? What's your opinion on that? Which is obviously
that's really fascinating. Yeah, I have. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I may show my ignorance because I know you're all much more expert than me on this, but there's been stories here swirling around about some of the footage is in a vault, and there's been offers to buy it for $100,000 and they won't sell it, and that of course creates more mystique. Is that the one where they're making that case that they're
clearly yeah, it's sort of like there's a disturbance in the water, and then the next thing you know is sort of like you can look in the water next to the boat. You can see a kind of a thin neck and head attached. It's very it's not very clear, to be honest. And obviously there's more to that footage. There is more to that footage. Now that's when the sort of the conspiracy and all that begins, because it's been out there a long time, over 20 years, isn't it?
Yes, it's kind of
and
funny because it's apparently they have it under lock and key, and they've had they claim they've had very high financial offers. And I guess I'm not a real mercenary person, and I get my family and friends often chastise me that I don't seem to care about. I mean, there's things where I could have had a lot of money and didn't really go after it. But like in our case, we've just like freely shared footage, the drone footage, and there have been TV shows that have wanted to show it, and we've just signed releases so they can show it, you know. But I guess in that case, they supposedly had a very high offer for the footage, but wouldn't release it. Apparently, I don't know if that's true.
Well, maybe it's very mysterious, because apart from the Mansi picture, that's basically the next best thing we've got, you know. So, but there's just these few sort of short clips out there. There's obviously more to the footage, and then there's all this mystery behind it. It's with a lawyer and all blah blah blah. But now it's like as I said, it's a good 20 years later from when it came out, and there's nothing more known about it, which is what we want, isn't it? But
can I just say, your drone footage while I was watching it, because I lose my screen, so I don't know what you guys are looking like when it was playing. But while I was watching it, and I replayed it a couple of times, you can actually see it following the boat. It's actually moving. Yeah. So no one can mistake it to be a large rock or anything like that.
Yes.
There was somebody in the chat that said it looked like a whale. To me, it didn't look like a whale. I didn't see any like fins or anything like that on there, and it glided quite smoothly. So that is a quite incredible piece of footage.
Possibly the shadow of an aircraft.
You would see it dark. You wouldn't see it. Surely you wouldn't see it as a grey.
It's interesting that you said that, Viv. In light of your earlier question to Kelly, you asked Kelly, how would you feel if you actually saw him? I have a retroactive emotion in that when I realized, oh my God, it was following right behind us. And that was me in the boat with little Emma Pearson, the actress who played Lucy, who was 8 years old. When I realized, oh my God, that was swimming right behind us, I had like a retroactive, oh my God, you know, like I had
done horribly wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it was doing like, I'm here in your face, non-believer, you know.
Yes.
It was looking for its dinner that day, wasn't it?
Throw Richard overboard.
Lucy looked quite let's go there.
Yes. And I'll admit, when Kelly said, oh my God, wait, you got to see this. Well, I've had I've had other oh my gods from Kelly. Like just yesterday, it was about the Charlie Kirk scene. Oh my God, there's footage where a chair goes through a table, and it's in Charlie Kirk was a hologram, and here's a projector that was a hologram projector, and it wasn't a real shooting. So I have many oh my gods from Kelly in the friendship of over 40 years. So she said, oh my God, wait till you see this thing on the footage. I think could be champ. I'll admit to you that I was like, okay, Kelly. And then I looked at it and had the reaction you did, like, wow, there's something moving behind the boat. Something's there.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you got any other sort of paranormal cryptozoology type projects on the go, Richard, or have you been involved in anything like that in the past? What's the...
Yes, well, we have the sequel, Secrets of Lake Champlain, and I don't know if I don't know if UFOs are in this same realm. Maybe not. That wouldn't be cryptid.
Yeah, we can go for that. Yeah, of course.
But when I was about 14, I did see some UFOs flying in all directions. As in the middle of a field, we had a lot of acreage and lived in a rural area. And I called my brothers. I was out in the field playing my guitar, and I called my brothers to come see it. And a couple of my brothers came out and saw it and witnessed as well. My brother Joe was still alive. We'll talk about it. And it's something I don't really talk about, but two of my brothers saw it, and my one brother who's still alive vividly tells the story. My other brother, sadly, my youngest brother who saw it with me, died of an overdose of fentanyl and heroin. He was a great guitar player, but sadly, we lost him young. So experiences like that made me more open-minded, though I look for evidence. I'm not closed-minded. I'm very open-minded to something different. And I also went through like the feeling of, and even just saying it right now, the feeling of fear of ridicule or people thinking you're crazy. And so I have sympathy for those that have seen Champ that are hesitant, like Kelly has people within her family that are older that have had Champ experiences. They're actually still to this day a little afraid to talk about it because they think, oh, people think he's nuts.
Yeah, not in this company though. Obviously we have the community here, so you can always. It doesn't matter. We're pleased when people. You can say anything. It doesn't matter. We don't care. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't talk to a close relative about certain things, but I'll tell John anything or V.
That's wonderful. You're also open-minded.
Then that's what it's about.
There's a verse in the Gospel of John that's a very obscure verse that no one really quotes or preaches on, but it really hit me like a ton of bricks relative to these sort of things, where Christ said to his disciples, there are many things I could tell you about, but ye cannot bear them now. And when I read that phrase, it just hit me like, that's the way life is. Like, there's a lot of things you might have experienced or believe, but you can't really share it with people that you kind of know don't have the open-mindedness or the willingness to even, they're just going to put you down or mock you or call you names. Or that's why in our Lucy and the Lake Monster film, a big component of the film is the people mocking Papa and Lucy and giving them a hard time, And
it doesn't matter at the end of the day. That's isn't it? That's the overriding factor, I would think. Even though I've not seen the film, I can tell. That's one of the morals.
Yeah, just exactly. And just the fact I made this film with Kelly and talk about the possibility of Champ. There's people that know me that have written online that I've gone nuts and I'm crazy and I'm promoting Champ and I'm off my rocker now.
We all are though. All of us here are off our rocker. So.
But then you're speaking up. Huh? You're speaking up for the child that's seeing and experiencing, because I've had that as a child where I used to see ghosts, and I tell my mum or tell whoever around me, and I was petrified as a child, and I got told, be quiet, they don't exist. So this film actually it's a lovely story, but it will actually help those that are in a sort of similar situation. And it's great for the children to see, because they know that if they do see something like that, they're not alone, and it can be a lovely thing.
Yeah, you mentioned ghosts, and we've had ghost experiences in my family. I mentioned my youngest brother who overdosed, and he's made appearances, to my mother and brother, and I've had vivid dreams of him going through a door into light, and my grandmother, who I was close to, we've had ghost experiences with her. I used to visit her on Fridays and take her fish and chips. Here, I was raised Catholic, and back in that day, it was a big tradition that you did not eat meat on Fridays. So we had
fish on Fridays.
Yes, we had a ritual where I would get her Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, who was a great British actor, as you may remember, had his fish and chips restaurants. And but one particular time when I went, she had a heart attack and had passed, and she was on the floor and had died. And I was only 9 years old. And I'm the oldest of 4 boys, but my mother had a pregnancy late in life, a 5th child, and she got her girl, my sister Elizabeth. But my grandmother had died just before Elizabeth was born, and she would appear by the crib. And when we would ask her, "Why are you there, Grandma?" she would say, "I wanted to see the baby. I wanted to see the baby girl." And so, experiences like that. again, it's hard to share with people. And I am a skeptical person, as I've said. So I do ask the hard questions, like, was it our imagination that just wanted so much to see her, or was it a hallucination, or was I possibly, were we half asleep and thinking we were awake? You know, so I do go through all the skeptic things in my mind, perhaps a bit more than maybe Kelly does, or even my mother does with these ghost things in our family. So I think it's wonderful that you're all so open to it, and you've been doing this work for so long. I think it's so wonderful.
It's interesting that, because John, remember last year in Gonzo, I wrote, I like the comedian Stuart Lee, isn't it? You know, I wrote a review last year, wasn't it? He's our best comedian probably in the UK. And he said, and he's very very on the level. But his mother died. And what he does after his gigs, he'll do a gig in a theatre, and then afterwards he'll sit outside with his books and his DVDs, and he'll sell them. People will queue up. I queued up, and to buy them. Anyway, his mother died, and then shortly afterwards he was doing he did his gig. The people were queuing up to buy his book, and he said his mother was in the queue, and he said to his mother, yeah. He said to his mother, "Oh, wait there. I'll be with you shortly. I've just got to deal with these customers here." And this is the most, and he's the most, straightforward, level-headed person that you could possibly see. And he said that on it's that Uncanny with that guy, isn't it? You know, on BBC did that ghost program recently, Uncanny. Yeah, he's on one of those, and he actually tells that story about how just after his mother died, he did a gig. There was a queue of people waiting for his book for him to do the signing, and I've been there. I've got his book, and I got him to sign it. And he said in the queue, his mother was there, and he just said to his mother, "Oh, wait there, mother. I've just got to deal with these people."
I love that, Ian. The fact that he's an on the level, grounded man.
He is. He's the most straightforward, and that's his appeal. He's the most straightforward thinking person. If you look at myself or John, we're very, we've had a guts full of society, and we just want someone to tell it how it is, and that's the person that does it. And for me, anyway, and and for him to say something like that was.
So what happened then? Did she wait to speak to him?
That was basically the anecdote. He sort of knew that he was bereaving, and there was, because you've seen the Uncanny program with that guy, the young.
I've not. Richard raves about.
It is really good, and the guy is really good. Yeah, and Stuart Lee is on there, and he's kind of justifying how that happened. Stuart Lee's an atheist. He's not. He doesn't believe in ghosts, obviously, but that happened to him, and then he's on there trying to sort of analyze how that happened. And he was bereaving, obviously, and there was a lot going on in his life. He was touring. He said he was drinking a lot. He's on the road. He's having a bit of drugs, a bit of alcohol as he goes, groupies, whatever. His head was a little bit messed up, that as well, and that happened to him, So yeah, it's weird. But Stuart Lee is brilliant. I love him, even though he's a lefty. Even though he doesn't like Brexit and Donald Trump and all that, he's the most skillful comedian you're ever going to see.
So, Richard, what's the time frame for the second film, the second book, and the third book?
Thank you for asking, Jonathan. Yes, the first book and film are out there already, Lucy and the Lake Monster. The second one will come out next year. I've been editing very hard myself, putting together the first cut of the sequel, and it's looking really good. And I have another editor, Colin, who's going to be polishing my work. And it's going a lot faster on the second one. I think maybe we got the hang of it a little better, because in the first one, I was a complete beginner on the editing program, which is DaVinci Resolve editing system. And so I think my learning curve was just so high that I was a bit slower, but I'm pretty quickly getting this assembled. I have maybe like 40 minutes or so already assembled on the sequel. So it's going pretty quick. to make it next year.
And dare I ask for volume 3? When will the third and final?
Well, I hope to be simultaneously doing two things. To be, when the second one comes out, I hope to be shooting the part 3 as we're marketing part 2, which was kind of the case with this. We were working on the sequel as we were out at film festivals and making appearances at screenings of the film in movie theaters and schools. And so we'll be simultaneously next year making part 3 as we're releasing and promoting the sequel. And it's just really wonderful to see a character like Lucy and how her relationship with cryptozoology and Champ evolves, as she matures and intellectually and emotionally. There's that childlike magical faith as a child, but she still has a relationship with Champ. As I'm going to walk away from my phone because if someone leaves a voicemail, I don't want to disturb us. I'm going to walk into a back room. Sorry for the movement.
All right.
Somebody's calling and you'll hear them, Richard, where blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to walk to another room. Here I am. Oh, and there's Lucy and the Lake Monster. There's our poster right there, I think.
Oh, that's a good bit of product placement.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So like in the first film, I see her as a childlike faith. It's a very literal experience of Champ, whereas in the sequel, it's it evolves more, and it's a bit different.
I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed both the book and the film.
Oh, Jonathan, I'm so honored that you enjoyed both the book and the film. It means a lot for someone of your status that all of you have been doing this so much longer. I've always liked cryptozoology. I've been quite fascinated by Bigfoot. I had a podcast where I had different Bigfoot hunters on in the past. I had a radio show on FM radio, and also it was a podcast in the internet era. And so I've always been fascinated. I remember when I saw the Patterson footage as a little boy when it came out. They had a movie based around that footage that came to the theaters, a small movie theater. My dad took us, and it was just so amazing that shaky camera, and then you see Bigfoot making that walk the way he did, swinging the arms, and I've followed all the theories, both those debunking it and those that believe it was authentic, and the guy that claimed he was in the Bigfoot costume. And it's just so fascinating to me. It's also interesting, some articles, and not to put ourselves on that level, but others have written that our drone footage reminds them a bit of what happened with the Patterson footage, in that, a lot of people are discussing whether, it's real, or debunking it, or saying, is it moving? Is it not moving? Is it this? Is it that? And it's, some say it's so convenient that this footage came about when you have this film, like it's like a marketing trick, which it is, and it has got a lot more attention about us. But it was just one of those things that happened that way. I mean, it sure looks like it was great marketing, but it just happened. I mean, Kelly's the most honest, ethical person ever I've known, and she would never make something up like that or just do it as a stunt. And she found the footage and showed me, and yeah.
Well, whatever it is in the footage, in order to have faked it up would have taken so much more technical expertise than I think any of us could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I never used a drone. Our cameraman, Daniel, was doing some filming for some missionary type groups. And he, has a very religious commitment to film people trying to do good works. And so he was making films to promote, these charitable people. And someone, just out of the goodness of their heart, donated at the last minute before we shot, here's a gift to you with your film work, and gave Daniel this drone. And when we've got this, the funny thing with the drone footage, none of us had ever used one. And we literally opened it out of the box and the packaging. And I said, it'd be wonderful to get some drone footage. I think it would add some production value to the film, some aerial shots. And so Daniel said, well, we'll try. So for a day or two, we would send that thing up, and some of it's quite jerky because he was learning how to pilot it. And so some people have said, well, I want to see more of the drone footage, above you and Lucy in the boat. The problem is it wasn't like an intentional thing where, in a perfect world, he would have lowered that drone and gotten closer on Champ and all that stuff. But literally a lot of the footage it's jerky and it's going off the wrong direction because we didn't really know what we were doing.
I was filming with a drone yesterday, and 80% of it's complete rubbish footage.
Yes.
Because they're not easy to navigate. I think you've got to be really skilled pilot to be able to make the thing work properly.
Takes practice. Yeah.
But
to be fair, I was going to say, to be fair, that drone footage, whether it's bad things that they're saying or good things, it's all publicity. So it doesn't matter. It didn't do Patty any harm, and it certainly won't do Champ any harm this time round. So
yes, that's a good point, Viv, because dare I say, I think there's some jealousy in the cryptozoology world that we got some of this attention. So there have been some that have, I think, debunked it from that motive of they got this instead of I got this. And we never respond ever to critics or negative stuff. Our policy for Kelly and I is just ignore it and take the high road, so to speak. When they go low, we go high. And the same when we go low, we go high, to me has two meanings. One is you don't lower yourself to the level of people putting you down. But also, secondly, is when they go low, we go high, like we ascend, like we gain from the publicity. So some of the people debunking it have given it so much publicity. Like a lot of the views went way up from people debunking it.
Yeah, like, what is this thing? I need to have a look for myself. And then from that, they're going to learn about the film. So they're going to want to watch it.
So much PR, like there were people determined to debunk it that would contact various media outlets. Can you believe this fake footage they're claiming is Champ and it's definitely not Champ? And they're sending it out to shows and talk shows and news.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But that's why I think the Patterson Bigfoot footage was a bit of a template, in that a lot of the people, like, thinking they were nuts or saying they just staged this, they went up to the woods there.
What is your opinion on that, though, Richard? What do you think? Real or fake?
Well, I always
two things. That's either a fake or that is the best thing ever. If it's not a fake, we are looking at the best thing ever.
I always believed in it as a child growing up, and I did see the man that claimed he was in the suit and he emulated the walk, and I could kind of see like maybe he was. At this point, having heard all the different theories, some people have pointed out like what appears to be a suit, but then like some others point out the musculature and the way it moves.
And it has breasts. It's female, apparently.
Yeah, but it's not clear. The thing is, there's that book by Greg Long, which is an awfully written book. However, it character assassinates Roger Patterson, and you think if that's right, then it probably is a fake. Unfortunately, but it might not be. That's just my view. I did have the book, but I gave it away. But
I got it from the library and read it with interest.
And if that's right, then obviously the circumstantial evidence is that that's probably a fake. But it might not be. It's a good film, but we can't see, can we? Whatever.
If this is a fake, it's a jolly good one.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. Yeah, it is a good fake.
Personally, I don't think there is much scope for it being a fake, but that's just my view.
The thing is, Roger Patterson did want to make a lot of money out of something. If you look into his background.
Yeah, but don't we all?
Well, yes, but he made more of an effort than most of us. So.
Well, doesn't mean it's okay to denigrate him, though, does it?
Well, yeah, but
unless we know he was a crook, we don't,
Well, he wasn't a crook, but there's nothing wrong with what he did. But
it's like these two guys that went to Borley Rectory and lived there and looked for these ghosts. people since their deaths have now come out and said, "Oh, they faked it all," and all books came out about the fakery.
The general vibe on that was Harry Price was throwing stones around Borley Rectory. And people
I know something.
He did catch him doing that.
Yes.
See, the truth always comes out, doesn't it?
There is
Well,
a
fine.
piece of film footage that was put on air about the church, and they forgot that they had the camera running in the church. They forgot all about it, locked it up for the night, went
BBC,
to the rectory.
That's BBC footage, isn't it?
No.
Is it not
it's
that one?
private. It's private footage that was on air, and you saw things happen, and then it was quickly taken down. And the footage remains with one of the two's great grandsons has now got it, had it all pulled.
The Bodette family own the footage.
They took you see the Bible open and it being thumbed through, and then it moved the actual thing it stood on moving on its own, and you hear furniture being dragged.
Well, the thing is, once I get a bit of time on my hands, I'm going there, and I'm going to do a film for CFZ.
Do it.
Oh, I'd love to see that, Ian.
I want to do it sooner rather than later, but it was going to happen. It will happen. Don't worry. But
I've got some footage from there. We
Have you
sat
been there?
behind a door. We sat behind a door, and we were we was actually having a coffee break and just talking about the place. We didn't hear it, but behind the door we were sitting on, you heard bang, 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 and it actually ruined what we were talking about. There was nobody in there, and the church was locked up. We were outside of the church.
I'm going to locate the pet cemetery, and I'm going to locate the lower summer house when I go there. The two things, and hopefully I'll do a Ouija board if I can, if I don't get kicked off. But the thing is, with me, people tend to threaten me when I go to these places and get rid of me. So, unfortunate.
Just tell them Viv sent you.
Nah.
Oh, Vivian, have you seen the one when he is filming outside the old people's home with Rory, the girl who had the relationship with Jeff the talking mongoose whilst she was an old lady and was kicked out by the caretaker?
And the thing is, John, the thing is, I don't just do stuff. I do other channels as well, and on other channels, some of the viewers, they like it when that happens to me. So I went. What I did, there was this one program I did on what I was doing. It was called "In the Footsteps of Frederick Fleet," the Titanic lookout. So what I did was I went to Southampton, and I went through the life of Frederick Fleet, where he lived. He committed suicide at the end. He survived the Titanic. He committed suicide.
Crikey.
And it all went well. No one interrupted me. And I was thinking, this isn't right. The viewers don't want this. They want someone to come and threaten me. So I got an actor to come and be the part of a pissed off resident. And I was filming the garden where Frederick Fleet killed himself. I was filming it, and then some guy came out and goes, "Right, you get the fuck out of here before I kick the shit out of you." And it was I employed that person though. It's not real. But anyway,
That's great.
Well, the thing is that when it comes to being a dick, you are a professional at it.
Well, yeah.
Unlike some people, you are really good at being a dick.
Well,
I liked the one at Loch Ness where you went to that caravan. That was so funny. And you were saying, well, he's supposed to live here, but there's no one here.
What's his name? Feltham.
Yeah, and then he came and he put all these big blurbs on Ian's what was it, YouTube? I think.
Oh, him, that guy for Steve Felton. Yeah, that was an accident. That was, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And he thought he acted like you were being offensive, like saying, well, he doesn't really live here, sort of thing. But you weren't saying that.
I'm not sure he's that. I don't think he's that intelligent, that guy, but he didn't quite get what he was doing.
No, he didn't.
You know, anyway, I'm not really that bothered, you know. In fact, it's good. I prefer that anyway.
It was hilarious, though.
I did a TV show with him once. Yeah. It was the one when I got very drunk with Brian Blessed afterwards, and he really did not get what we were doing.
Yeah, Yeah, it doesn't matter, you know. We just do what we do, and you know that's the
Can
bottom
I say,
line.
Richard, I'm going to get your book. I haven't read it. I'm going to get the book, and I'm going to read it to my 4-year-old grandson when he stays over for bedtime, and get him interested in the cryptid side. He loves dinosaurs and he loves animals, so I'm sure he will love your book.
Oh, wonderful! Yes, I am so happy to hear that. At my father's funeral, we had a quote from Emerson about, to have had your work enjoyed by a child is to have truly lived, and he taught many children guitar. But yes, my granddaughter Ava just loves dinosaurs and things like that, and so when I show her Papa a video of Papa seeing the dinosaur in the lake. Oops, I just did a spoiler. Sorry.
You just done it.
So it does exist.
Yes.
Your
That's
partner
wonderful.
will be jumping up and down now.
Yes. It's funny. We did an interview on Fox Television, and I did a spoiler or something. And Kelly, there's no gal. I mean, whatever she's thinking, she shows it. And there's a real funny interview out there where I start going on and on about something I wasn't supposed to say. And she's looking at me like, I can't believe. But there's much to be said for her, keeping the plot points and the twist secret. That's for sure.
Well, I know what you've now got to say to Kelly. Say that you didn't say anything of the sort, but we mocked it up by getting a hologram of you.
Yes.
There you go.
Your chair don't kill you because you're a hologram.
Yeah, see how my hand's going through my face there.
Guys, do you realize we've been on for an hour and a half? It's gone.
Wow.
I know I say this every episode, but it goes
quickly.
I was adopted.
Okay, I'm waving my
Don't blame me.
I always wave my arms around.
It goes flappy.
Richard, thank you for coming on, and thank Kelly.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us both on. We're very grateful, and I've enjoyed your show, and I've watched it in the past and enjoyed it, and so I'm really honored that you were able to have us on. And I hope if any of you are on Facebook, you could friend me. I'm on there, facebook.com/Richard Rossi Actor, and you'll recognize on my profile, I have a recent newspaper in New York that talks about the sequel being shot. That's kind of like my banner.
I'm doing it now.
And
yeah.
In advance, when the second movie comes out next year, will you come back on the show and tell us all about it?
Oh, I'd be delighted. Absolutely delighted.
And we'll try not to screw up the time zones this time.
We could get my grandson on just quickly to say whether he liked the book and the first film.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Now your grandson, what's his name?
Darren.
Oh, wonderful.
And he's 4 years old.
That's so wonderful that we have grandchildren, around the same age.
Well, my granddaughter is getting the book at Christmas. She doesn't know yet.
Oh, wonderful.
She does now.
Do you honestly think that her mother would let an impressionable young lady of 11 watch this show?
Oh, your granddaughter is 11?
She's 11 yesterday.
That's a wonderful age for it also, because the protagonist, Lucy, is 8 and she turns 9 in the book. So that's very close to her age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on, Richard.
Thank you, and keep up the good work.
We most certainly will.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a month's time, and next month we have Roland Watson from the Loch Ness, what's it called?
Expert.
The Loch Ness thingy. What's it called, Ian? Tell me.
He's a blogger, isn't he? He's got the best Loch Ness
the word blog. It shows what a silly old man I'm becoming. The Loch Ness blog will be with Roland Watson next month, and Ian has set us all All
Some homework.
Hallows Eve, he set us all a challenge that we have to be in Halloween costume.
That's gonna be fun.
Wagwan.
Yeah.
I have already bought my costume.
I
had mine already.
A hat.
Sorry?
I've got my hat.
You've got a
I
hat. Well
know
done,
you've
V.
got your hat. I've bought my hat, but you don't know what it is till next time. So, see you all next month. God bless you all.
God
And
bless
thank
you
you
all.
all for watching.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Time to go home. Time to go home from your simply spooky adrenaline ride. Time to go home. Time to go home. Even if you're terrified. Goodbye. Time to go home. Time to go home. Vivian and her weird friends are all going home. Time to go home. Time to go home. Vivian is waving goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.